Hello student, this is Pallab Darbari, your host, and you are watching Pallab Darbari classes. In this video, we will discuss Macroeconomics Class 12th, Determination of Income and Employment, Chapter 3, Volume 2. In this video, we will discuss aggregate supply and its components, saving function, and propensity to save. Let us start the class with the meaning of the aggregate supply. Listen, aggregate supply refers to the aggregate production planned by all the producers during an accounting year. We know that national income of an economy is equal to the total money value of all the goods and services produced in an economy. National income means money value of all the goods and services produced, and the aggregate supply is the production of goods by all the producers in an accounting year. In this form, aggregate supply of goods and services is always identical or is considered as identical to national income. The total income earned can either be spent as consumption expenditure or saved. Hence, consumption and saving are the two main components of aggregate supply. So what are the components of aggregate supply? Two components are there, consumption and saving. It can be represented as AS is equal to C plus S. Let us see what is aggregate saving. Saving refers to that portion of the income that is retained and not spent as consumption. That is, saving is done to finance the future consumption. In other words, we can say saving refers to the difference between income and consumption expenditure. That is, saving is equal to income minus consumption, or S is equal to Y minus C. Similar to the consumption, saving also share a positive relationship with income. As income increase, saving also increases and vice versa. Since there is a positive relationship here, we can see if the income increase, the saving also increase and vice versa. Try to understand it with the schedule. In this schedule, we can see income, we can see autonomous consumption, we can see induced consumption, we can see total consumption, saving, and aggregate supply. Remember one thing, aggregate supply means consumption plus saving. So aggregate supply has two components, saving and the consumption. In this video, we will only discuss saving, not consumption, because consumption we have already discussed. Now let us see, when the income is zero, autonomous consumption is constant. Induced consumption will be 0.5 multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. Total consumption will become 10 plus 0 is equal to 10. Saving, when the income is 0, will be minus 10. Remember one thing, when the income is 0, there cannot be saving. Rather, there will be dissaving. When I say they will not be saving, they will be dissaving, what it means? It means that the person will borrow the money to meet out the minimum requirement of life. The person will borrow only that much money which is being needed to meet out the autonomous consumption. So when the income is 0, saving and the autonomous consumption is always equal. Here we can say when the income is 0, autonomous consumption is 10 and the saving is minus 10. When I say minus 10 represent this saving. So aggregate supply becomes consumption plus saving, that is 0. When the income becomes 10, autonomous consumption, as I told you, remains same. Induced consumption becomes 0.5 multiplied by 10 is equal to 5. Total consumption is 15. Let us see saving. Saving means income minus consumption. Income is 10, consumption is 15, so it will be minus 5. So there will be a dissaving of minus 5 rupees. Total aggregate supply is 10. When the income becomes 20, autonomous is the same, induced become 10, total consumption becomes 20, and the saving is 20. Why? Because 20 minus 20 is equal to 0. Here we can say that income is always equal to, if you check it out, we can see that, try to see what is the aggregate supply. Aggregate supply is 20 plus 0, that is 20. Remember one thing, as I told you, aggregate supply is always equal to income. You can see of your own. When the income is 0, aggregate supply is also 0. When the income becomes 10, aggregate supply also becomes 10. When the income becomes 20, aggregate supply becomes 20, and so on. Because the saving is being calculated out of the income. How? Because saving means income minus consumption. Income minus consumption. Consumption means total consumption. I hope the schedule is clear to everyone. Now I try to say the same thing through the graph. This is the consumption curve, which always starts from the y-axis, and the gap between the consumption curve and the origin 0 is the autonomous consumption. This line represents, this 45-degree line represents aggregate supply, which is always equal to income. This is being represented by the 45-degree line. Why? Because every point on the aggregate supply or the income is equidistant from x-axis and y-axis. So it is always being represented as 45-degree line. Saving starts from the negative y-axis. So when the income is 0, there is dis-saving. We can see there is dis-saving, and remember one thing, as I told you, this saving is always equal to autonomous consumption. Clear? When the saving becomes 0, the saving becomes 0 when the income and the consumption is equal. At this point, consumption and the income becomes equal. So that particular point, when the consumption becomes equal, it is called break-even point. And at the break-even point, the question of the saving doesn't arise because the saving is 0. Why? Because whatever the money the person is earning, he is consuming it. He is spending for the consumption. Before the break-even point, this is the point before the break-even point, the consumption is more and the income is less. What it means? It means dis-saving. We can see the saving is negative. And after this particular point, we can say that income is more and the consumption is less. So the question of saving arises. Here we can say saving is positive. Now try to say the same thing with the saving function. Let us see what is saving function. To understand the concept of the saving function, firstly we should know what is the meaning of the saving. Listen, that part of the income which is not consumed is called saving. So what is saving? The part of the income which is not consumed is called saving. It is excess of income over consumption. If the consumption is more and the income is less, the question of saving will not arise. There will be dis-saving. Fine. So saving can only emerge when the income is more and the consumption is less. Let us see what is saving function. Saving function is the functional relationship between income and saving. It is being represented as S is equal to Fy. Here S means saving, F means functional relationship, and Y means income. In place of the Y, we can also use the word disposable income. Remember one thing, the saving function can also be represented by the equation, that is saving is equal to autonomous saving or dis-saving plus induced saving. Here the small a is S means what? MPS. It means the fixed percentage of the income, fixed percentage which the person had decided to save with the increase in income. So small s means marginal propensity to save, saving with every additional income. Clear? Remember one thing, this small s or the marginal propensity to save lies in between 0 and 1. It means it is greater than 0 but less than 1. Let us see how the saving, dis-saving is always equal to autonomous consumption, or in other words we can say that dis-saving is equal to minus autonomous consumption, or saving is equal to minus autonomous consumption. Minus autonomous consumption means dis-saving. Let us prove how. We know that consumption is equal to autonomous consumption plus induced consumption. Small cy means induced consumption. It means fixed percentage on income. Clear? We know that saving is equal to income minus consumption. How you calculate the saving? If we deduct consumption from the income, we get saving. In place of the consumption, we write down what is the meaning of the consumption? Autonomous plus induced consumption. So in place of C, we write down autonomous consumption plus induced consumption. Open up the bracket. S is equal to Y minus autonomous consumption minus induced consumption. In other words, we can say that saving is equal to minus autonomous consumption plus income plus induced consumption. It means MPCY. Take the Y common. Minus autonomous consumption plus 1 minus CY. I am taking Y common, so it will be minus CY. We know that minus CY or minus 1 minus MPC means what? MPS. What it means, I just tell you. Remember one thing, MPC means, it means fixed percentage which a person will spend. The leftover will be the fixed percentage which the person will save, yes or no. MPC means what? Fixed percentage of income which he will spend for consumption. It means the remaining leftover, the remaining fixed percentage is the saving, MPS. So how we calculate 1 minus C or 1 minus MPC means what? It means the fixed percentage which he will save. That is MPS. So here we get S is equal to minus autonomous consumption plus induced saving or MPSY. We know that the saving equation, saving function can be represented by this one, this saving plus SY. So in this way we can say that the saving is equal to induced consumption. So this saving is equal to minus autonomous consumption. Minus autonomous consumption is equal to the amount of this saving that we have seen done when there is zero level of income. The amount of autonomous consumption is exactly equal to the amount of this saving at zero level of income. Try to see or try to understand it with the schedule. Consider the saving function by the equation S is equal to this saving plus SY. In place of the this saving, we can also use the word minus autonomous consumption. In the schedule, we can see that income is 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. Autonomous consumption is always constant, or this saving is always constant. It is always in negative. Why? Because it is this saving. Minus 10, minus 10, minus 10, minus 10. The second one is MPSY. 0.5 is MPS. It means fixed percentage which a person will save out of the increased income. So 0.5 multiplied by 0 is equal to 0, 0.5 multiplied by 10 is equal to 5. And the saving function will become, and the saving becomes minus autonomous consumption plus 0 is equal to minus 10. When the income is 10, the saving becomes minus 5. When the income becomes 20, it becomes 0. When the income becomes 30, it becomes 5, and so on. So here we can say when the income is 20, the saving is 0. What it means? It means that when the income becomes, when the saving becomes 0, it is called break-even point. Before this particular point, we can say that before the break-even point, we can see that there is this saving. The question of saving is not arising. And after this point, we can see that the saving is coming. When the saving is coming, what it means? It means that the consumption might be less and the income is more. Try to see it through the graph. In this graph, we can see this S is the saving curve. From O to negative y-axis represent this saving, which is always constant. When the income is 0, there might be the this saving, which is always equal to minus autonomous consumption. At this point, saving is 0, and this very point is called break-even point. In the schedule, we have seen when the income is 20, the saving becomes 0, which is the break-even point. Let us see the important observation. S is the positively sloped curve. This is the positively sloped curve. Where I say positively sloped curve, it means that it is moving upward. Shows or showing the direct relationship between saving and income. If the income is increasing, the saving will also increase and vice versa. So it is upward sloping. Saving curve start from the point A. It is being started from the point A at a negative y-axis. This shows that when at the zero level of the income, there is this saving or negative saving. which is equal to minus autonomous consumption or negative autonomous consumption. When I say negative autonomous consumption, what it means? It means that when the income is zero, the person will borrow the money which is sufficient enough to purchase the minimum requirement of life or minimum consumption level. That is autonomous consumption. So that is why when the income is zero, the autonomous consumption is always equal to this saving. The point where saving intersect or cut x-axis is known as break-even point. Let us see what is propensity to save. It shows the amount of the saving corresponding to different level of income. We know that there are two ways of representing propensity to save. The first one is average propensity to save and the second one is marginal propensity to save. Let us discuss all these points one by one. Let us start with the average propensity to save. Let us see the meaning. When the propensity to save is represented in aggregate terms, what I said, when the propensity to save is represented in aggregate terms, it is called APS, average propensity to save. It is the level of the saving with the income. What it means? It is the level of saving with the income. Means saving divided by income. Let us see the features. With the increase in income, APC also increases. Why? Because there is a direct relationship between income and saving. So with the income, when the income increases, the saving also increases. Next thing is APC can be negative before break-even point. At the break-even point, saving is zero. So the APC will be definitely negative before the break-even point. So the question is APS becomes zero when the APC is 1. APS can be calculated from APC. The question is how? Because 1 minus APC is equal to APS. Because remember one thing, APS can never be more than 1 as saving cannot exceed income. Since saving cannot exceed income, so the APS, average propensity to save, cannot exceed 1. Try to understand it through the graph. This S curve represents the saving curve, which start from the negative y-axis, and this, when the income is zero, there will be this saving, which is always equal to minus autonomous consumption that we can see over here. Let us see what is the APC at the point B. At the point B, average propensity to save is saving divided by income. So at the point B, saving is BA and the income is DB. So what is APS? APS is equal to BA divided by DB. Now let us see what is marginal propensity to save. Let us see the meaning. When the propensity to save is represented in proportionate terms, it is called MPS, marginal propensity to save. It is the proportionate change in saving with respect to proportionate change in income, or the percentage change in saving with respect to percentage change in income. It can be represented as MPS is equal to delta S divided by delta Y. Let us see the features. The value of MPS is always lies between 0 and 1. When the entire value of additional income is saved, MPS becomes 1. Try to understand it through the graph. Listen, what will be the MPS at the point B? If we have to find out the MPS at the point B, we should know what is MPS. The formula to calculate the MPS is change in saving divided by change in income. Here the change in saving is PA and the change in income is Q1Q. Clear? Change in saving is PA and change in income is Q1Q. So MPS is equal to PA divided by Q1Q. That's all I have in this video. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Dear subscribers, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe the channel and don't forget to press the bell icon so that whenever I upload the new video, you get the notification.